Thank you for joining. My name is Denise, and I will be guiding you through the Digimap services and giving you a very brief introduction to Digimap. And of course, it is not going to be comprehensive because we don't have much time, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at the end and also to send us an email anytime. We'll be happy to help you anytime you need. For those who do not know Digimap and is not familiar to it, it's a comprehensive online mapping and data service provided by EDINA, and it's widely used across academia and business and the public sector. Digimap is a valuable resource for research, planning, teaching, and project development. Currently, Digimap offers 12 unique collections, each tailored to different academic needs, and you can choose the collection that suits you best, and also you can choose bundles if you want to have a combination of collections. The bundles, they are presented in Ultimate, as you can see on the screen, Ultimate, Premium, or Standard, and you can match to the bundle you prefer to your institution's specific requirements. And you can also extend or if you wish to have more data. So we have here the 12 collections in this screen. And apart from that, we have the NGD data, the National Tree Map, Aerial Extra, and the Land Clan, which is available as an upgrade as well. Just to show you briefly our collection, if you open Digimap, you will see this screen in front of you and you can choose the collection you want. So if you have ordered the Ordnance Survey, which is our most comprehensive and detailed map collection, you will have the Ordnance Survey, and some of the other collections will be added to it as well. And our newest collection is, I think it is still the Ag Census, which is mostly used for farmers, and it will cover the agricultural census in England, for example. So yeah, we have a variety of data, and you can always feel free to choose and to see which one best suits your needs. Apart from that, please make sure to, when you have an opportunity, to go through our Digimap help and resources. And so we can provide you with a lot of information, a lot of data. So you can go to about Digimap and you can see the data downloading and it is a specific attributions. For example, let me just get this here for you. If you open the data download, that is what you are going to see. We also have FAQs, which you can access and make sure that you can always go and check what we have that is more important for you, or any questions you have, for example. We also have learning materials, which comprise of a series of webinars, and you can choose, and if you miss something, you can always take a look here and also in our YouTube channel. I will show you how to go around and to explore Digimap. So let's start with Ordnance Survey. If I go to Ordnance Survey, I will open a map that is like this. I can zoom in and out as just by scrolling the scrolling wheel on my mouse. And I can also use the bars here, the plus and the minus sign, and I can go back to the original, or I can choose a square, a point in my map where I can zoom in and then see how it looks. Let's just stay here for now on the Great Britain map, and let's use the search button. So I can search for many different places. I can search for Paris, for example, and it will offer me places called Paris, roads, and global landmark. And in the global landmarks, it will be offered to the Notre Dame de Paris. Let's see if I look, for example, Tornes Power Station. It's here, and it will show me a list of places and roads. And at the moment, I want the Tornes Power Station place in East Lothian. The place I'm looking for in the map will be in the center, and the pointer will show me where that place is. So at the moment, I click on this X here because I already found my place. The pointer will disappear. But we can always replace the pointer with a marker, and the marker will stay there and will remind us where our place is. I have here an overview of the map, and that is going to show me where I am in the map, so I know exactly which area of my map I'm looking at. As I zoom out, and the overview gets bigger, and I can see more details of my map. I can also see the key, the map content. So the map content will change as I change the zoom, as I zoom in and out in my map. As you can see, it shows more details as I zoom in, and I can go to the roads and all the symbols that are appearing here, I am likely to find in my map. And I can see if there is railways, and I can see all the symbols for the land cover, and I can go and see what my symbols are. So it will change as I zoom out. As you can see, it changes, it goes in less details. So before I could even see individual buildings. Now it is simplifying so much that I can see roads, railways, and air travel, water features. Only what I can see in the map is what will be available to me. Going back to the station, and if I click on the icon here, the information, wherever I move on my map, it will show me the coordinates, and it is quite good for when you want to capture coordinates and create a CSV file, for example. You'll talk about that a little later on. I know my coordinates here, but at the moment I move my mouse, it will change. So I can capture my coordinate by clicking on this icon here. And when I click on the power station, my coordinate will be fixed, will be frozen. And I can see what type of license I have for this map. We will talk about the license soon. And there are two main licenses for the OS maps, and that is the open license and the licensed product. So the open license, they are open to everyone, and the licensed products will be likely to see only upon subscription. And it will show also the scale in which you are in this product. So, and the type of map, and also the date in which this map was captured. I can look at the overlays for my map as well. And I can see, for example, let me zoom a little more in so that you can see more of the things I'm going to show. If I want to see, for example, the national tree map points, I can click on this and open, and I can adjust the transparency. So I can see here the national tree map, or if I want to see even more fully, I can go to the canopy and the crowns. Let's see the canopies, and you can see they appear here. And I can again adjust the transparency to the level that I want to see in my map. And I can also see, let's see the points of interest. If I open the points of interest, I will have a selection of points of interest to choose, and you can see they appeared in the map here. So let's say I don't want to see all points of interest, and I only want to see manufacturing in production, and I will have one here, another one here, and they are quite different. If I click on the information button here, and then I click on my manufacturing product, it will give me information about what I'm seeing, like the group name, category name, class name, address detail, postal code, and so on. If I click on this one, it will show me the information about that point of interest there as well. And I can click on all of them, and I will be able to see all the points of interest. And I can see also the postcode, for example. What you can see is that is listed here. So it's is about your interest and what you want to see. I want to show you the postcode, and the postcodes here, as I zoom out, I can see that they become more of bounded postcode. It will show me the limits of my postcode, for example. These are the overlays and what I can see. And I can see this WMS icon here. If I click here, I can see that I can add stuff to my map. I can either add manually, in which case I will have to add a URL here, or I can look for a WMS feed. So if I look, for example, for trees, it will show me a variety of items that I can choose from. But let's say I want to see something elsewhere in Digimap. I can add a manual feed. I want to add some historic map to this map here. So I go to the historic map, and web services is where I'm going to find the feed for that data that I'm looking for the historic data. There are two types that will appear. Sometimes we only have the licensed data. Sometimes we have licensed data plus open data as well. So I will just copy, Ctrl C, or copy from here. It doesn't matter which way you prefer. Go back to Ordnance Survey, OS Digimap, and I can go back to my overlays, WMS, add manually, and I can Ctrl V, add my URL here, get layers, and it will show me which layers I can add. So at this moment, I can either choose to add a few, or I can add all of them. So let's say 1850, 1870, 1930. I'm just doing this randomly, just to give you an example. And then I can add layers to my map. And okay, and those are the layers that have been added. As I open each one of them, I will be able to choose if I want them to appear on my map or not. So let me zoom in a little longer. So I can add those layers to my map when and if I want as well. It takes a while to appear, but yes, I can add historical, and I can also adjust the transparency, so it's taking a while, but it will appear eventually. I can also add a completely different URL outside of the Digimap. For example, if I open this website here, and that is from datagov.uk, I can look at the data that is available here. I will just copy this URL, go back, edit here, get layers, and my layers will appear. Again, I can choose all of them, or I can choose just the data that I want, and I can add the layers to my map. These are different ways you can add data to your map using the WMS. I can also go to the drawing tools, and if I want to add data, since we are talking about adding data, so I can import data into my map, and to import data, I can import in those 5 different formats. CSV is the most common one, and all you need to add a CSV file is to have the X and Y coordinates, and it will show me the points in the map where the coordinates are, and I can add them and I can visualize them in my map. I will do something a little more complicated this time. I will add a GeoJSON, and for that, I will just click on Choose File. I want to see where the national parks in England are, and import. And there I have the national parks in England. I can even combine data, like import again, and now I want to look at the national nature reserves, import. Digimap will ask me if I want to replace my annotations or if I want to merge annotations. For this example, I want to merge my annotations, so I have both the parks and the reserves, and I can compare them. I have here the parks and the reserves, and I can play around with them as well. If I go back to Tornes Power Station, search for it here, there we go. If I go back to my original point here, I can show you what else we can do while we are in the drawing tools. In the create area of the drawing tools, you can add markers. Remember when I said we can get rid of the pointer, but if we don't want to lose where we are, we can add a marker. And you have a choice of markers here to choose from. And I'm choosing this one. I could have changed the settings, but I didn't. It is still time, so I just select my marker, and then I can go back and change my settings and add a blue one this time. And I can alter the transparency of my marker as well. When I click out, my marker changed color. I can change the type and the colors of my markers. I can add a polygon to my image. There are a variety of polygons you can choose from. You can choose a circle, a triangle, or a freehand. If you are good at freehand drawing on computer, I'm not, so I'm going for the polygon. Click, leave, click, leave, click. Where I click on the map, it will get me a line. So I just click, get away with my map, and then click at the end. And I have a polygon here. And I can do other things with my image here. I can add lines, I can add text, a label to my drawing, and I can measure as well. So if I click on measure, I will be offered the metric or imperial measurements. I will leave the metric, and when I click on the image, it will tell me the area of that image. Once I have selected the image, I can also transform it. I can change points in my image. For example, I can make it a little more comprehensive here, and I can rotate, scale. So you can play around and you can always delete. So the delete offers, you can either delete all or select and then delete, or you can delete on click. If you delete on click, it will delete only what you click on. You can add a buffer too. I will zoom out a little for that. And let's say I want a point buffer and I want it 0.3 kilometers from the center of this map. I can also have a line buffer. For example, I can, if I'm analyzing a noise pollution, for example, I can choose a line buffer and check how far, so I know that the noise pollution goes 300 meters from the rail station, and I want to know if it reached the power station or not. So these are things you can do. I'm going to delete all my drawings because I don't want them, but I could save them, and I could just add them to my collection of saved maps and would save with annotations as well. I want to show you the base maps. The base maps will give me an option of types of maps that I can see. I will have raster in grayscale or a raster 25K here, and it will change as I zoom in and out. So I will have more or less options depending on how much I have zoomed in or out in my map, for example. You can see that the options are changing. And I have here now the backdrop. The backdrop is quite good if you want to do annotations, for example, because it is not very intrusive. It's quite faded, but it's still there. And the raster, for example, it will change as you zoom in and out in your map, and you can adjust what type of map you want to see according to your preferences. Each one of them has also their technicalities and a reason why you are seeing that way, and you are the only person who can actually know what you want to see and why you want to see the map in that way. Now I can go to download, and I can download a part of the map that I want. I can just choose an area in my map. I click on the rectangle here, and I want to download this part. So I click, go away with my mouse and click again. I'm interested in downloading this area, and I can download also different attributes, different data for my map. For example, if I want the building features, I can have information of how much I can download there, for example. And for the building feature, I can download up to 100 square meters. So let me get out of here and delete and zoom out a little so that I can show you a better illustration of what we can download. If I in Manchester, so just to choose a random place, and I want some data from Glossop. So I will go to my download data, and I can get a rectangle or a polygon. I will go for the rectangle, and I select the data. It will show me if I'm able to download this data or not. So for the NGD building features, I'm fine. I'm still within 100 kilometers. So if I zoom in a little more, or zoom out, sorry, and make another square here, you can see that my selection became red because I'm asking for too much data and more than I can ask for in one go. That is not a problem at all. And in our help pages, you will see that there is information about it, and there is a video as well on how you can download a large amount of data. All you need to do is to reduce to what is allowed and request the data in several takes until you get the data you want. I can use the reference grid. I can 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers grids. Let's go to the 10 kilometers grids. And if I then make a square, just taking these grids here, I'm still in the data limit. So I have 98 out of 100. That means it's not precise, but you can use coordinates. If you use coordinates or the tile name, which is the easiest way. So if I use SE00 and go, it will give me that tile. So next time I order the SE10 and so on and so on. And then I will get all the data I want, and it will never be read here. If I got this data here, I can add to basket. It will give me here the newest version, which is from May 24. I can select the format. Let's see, GeoPackage. And sometimes I can select the theme, and then I can request download. I will receive an email with my download. And once I click in that email, I will have to go again back to Digimap and get my data from there. Now, one more thing I want to talk to you about is the copyright. All data from Digimap is licensed for educational use only. If you are using Digimap products, please make sure that you cite the data that you download, and remember that it is only for educational purpose. That means you cannot sell the data that you download. You cannot engage in any commercial activity using that data at all. And if you want more information about that, you can go to our Help Copyright and Licensing page, and there you will see all the advice that we can give you about the data and the copyright. And when you get our products, you will also have to tick a box letting us know that you agree with the terms and conditions, and that you have read our license and you agree and accept that. That is it. It's a very quick introduction to Digimap, and if you have any questions at all, please let us know. You can ask now, and I'm here with the services manager, Emma, who can also help me to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
Denise, it might be worth adding that questions can go in the chat, but also if you go away and think about questions that you might have but haven't thought of them right here and now, don't be afraid to email us, digimap@ed.ac.uk. I'll stick that address in the chat as well.